broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello and welcome to the King of the Nerds AfterBuzz After Show. I'm your host, Yael Tygiel. Welcome. If you haven't already, make sure you go onto youtube.com/AfterBuzz and subscribe. We're also on iTunes and SoundCloud. Now let's get into the show because I'm so excited. I have amazing guests. My co-host, as always, Curtis Armstrong.
Nice to be here once again.
And we have recently eliminated, I'm so heartbroken, Thomas Vollum.
Hello.
Welcome. I'm so sad. We've lost just two really sweet, amazing people.
I know.
The sweetest, I would say.
Possibly the sweetest. We got them right out of the way at the beginning so we could get down to all of the horrible, nasty people.
The nitty gritty.
Yes.
It's the dark side of the nerddom.
It's just going to be so vicious from here on out.
For the record,
it
was Jacob last week and Thomas now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sad.
He's okay, though. He's okay.
Yeah, see, a fun thing, as soon as I actually got out, I just had the biggest grin. It's like, all right, stress gone. I'm good. I'm just going to hang out with these people and, to be continued in the nerddom.
That's right.
That's great.
And we've been, of course, as you know, I think, for our premiere, we had a big premiere party that you were at.
I was there.
Thomas was there. All of the nerds were there from season 3.
Yeah.
And then the next night, they were all at the other party, which was the private nerd party.
Yeah, I was not there.
Well, I'm sorry, but you were not on the show.
Not yet.
You weren't that's right. You weren't a nerd on the show. And Thomas was there too, and it gave everybody a chance to just party and have fun, and everybody loves him. I mean, the problem with King of the Nerds is that it's not really a cutthroat elimination show. It can have cutthroat elements to it, but that's not what the object is. And what happened in these first 2 episodes is that for strategic purposes, whether you agree with the strategy or not, for strategic purposes, these 2 people went.
Yeah.
And that's how it wound up.
Yeah.
But it was not, fortunately, it's almost never a question of getting rid of somebody because you don't like them. And in this case, it would be the opposite.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into this episode. We had the Nerd War of Cosplay, which that's my favorite episode each season. I love to cosplay. I love seeing nerds make cosplay because I have no talent in putting stuff together. So to watch them do it is so cool. And you were lucky enough to have someone that you admire as a judge. You weren't the only one who had someone they admire as a judge.
No.
Which ended up heartbroken. We'll talk about that. But your team did so well, and it was so beautiful. And we had this amazing story about the prejudice and about being an outsider, and it was really beautiful. Tell us about working together as a team to make this story and how it was for you.
Well, our team, House Hulavu, we started off in the planning phase where we all were just throwing out ideas. We got the space background, so my mindset was, and other people agreed with, let's do like a Star Trek episode and kind of get like the Star Trek-y feel with the spaceships, the colorful aliens, and the quirky cast.
Yeah.
And basically just throwing off ideas like, hey, humans, prejudice against humans and stuff like that, and basically how nerds sometimes are people are very prejudiced against them about what they like because it's not always with the social norm.
Right.
And our idea was like, nerds, we all come together, we express what we love, and we accept everyone, love and tolerate, and all that stuff.
Yeah. I was so worried you were going to hyperventilate in your costume when Tara Strong was on.
Well, I was in a mask, so maybe I did.
Yeah.
I think he was. I think he was hyperventilating.
I was like, somebody let him breathe.
It was very thin, though. I can breathe. I just can't. I
Okay.
couldn't see. It was green tinted goggles. I couldn't have my glasses. Ben had my glasses the entire time, so
Yeah, I know
blinded.
what that's like.
And Tara Strong,
Yes,
a personal hero.
she is awesome. She you can't have a childhood without hearing her voice in a cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
She is everywhere.
Now, may I just interject one thing? One of the
course.
things that's interesting about Thomas, he has a lot of interesting qualities.
Yeah.
But one of them is he's a brony.
Yeah, I know.
And,
I love it.
You know, he is our first brony on King of the Nerds.
It's a sub fandom that needed to be represented.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think what's really fascinating for me is that when I think of a brony, because I'd never met a brony.
Hello.
You just hear about them, and they're like magical fairies. You've never met them, you hear about them, and in my mind they were something completely different. I don't know why. An internal.
What did you think they were?
An internal prejudice. I thought it was something different. I thought it was something similar, more on the furries or plushies side.
A few furries are in the fandom for sure, but
Okay.
basically the mindset of bronies, it could be a male or a female. Any gender doesn't matter, but the general term came from bro and pony.
Right.
But girls call them bronies. But basically the idea is, guys growing up, we liked watching Powerpuff Girls, a show about strong female characters.
That's right.
And also like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, all these colorful characters doing unique scenarios. And the idea behind My Little Pony is, guys don't have a lot of shows that are, emotionally reachable, and helps guys like be in touch. Guys can have feelings too. We don't just all like love and hate.
Right.
But guys have different feelings, but they don't always show it because of society. And a lot of guys are drawn to that aspect of the show, like being able to be a better friend, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think it's really great. I think that's so wonderful, and to have you, be I don't want to say the face of it, but like you're someone that we see and we're like, okay, like I get it. That makes total sense to me, and it's not something to. It's an internal prejudice, and it's not something to fear or think is one way. But when we have someone to represent it, and I think that's so amazing, and to let people know, like, hey, bronies are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I learned in this episode. Bronies are awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we move off the nerd war, I want to talk about Lily. Oh, Lily. Okay, so Lily's sitting there crying because Yaya Han did not choose her.
She went with story over costume, pretty much.
Which I get. I totally get that. And I think that's great. But like I was thinking about how I would feel, and that sounds like the most heartbreaking thing ever.
What, that your hero voted down your...
Yeah, that my hero was like, yeah, I'm going to vote for the other
Right
team.
after she said we had the better costumes.
Right.
And then we had this interesting conversation. Interesting is the word I'm going to use, where Lily's crying and Todd is like, stop crying.
Yeah.
You were in the room at this.
I think Todd was really trying to, trying to help Lily, but not all nerds are the best wordsmiths. I think in Todd's mind, he was really trying, build up her confidence, help her through the situation. He just, not the best choice of words right there. That's how I feel. That's how I saw it as a bystander, because mainly it was between these two.
Right.
I'm an optimist. I truly believe Todd was trying to help her.
Yeah.
Wanted her to be strong, but bad words.
Now, the one of the thing that we had conversations with Lily afterwards, and one of the whole things about this that she wanted, I mean, she needn't have worried, but she was curious about was whether that scene was in it because she wanted it in it, because she felt that when she says crying makes me strong, that's something that is important for her to say, and it's something that she actually believes in.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting thing to have happen there, where you've got a conversation between the two of them. She's, on the face of it, she's just crying because she's disappointed, and he maybe not understanding that. And in retrospect, he probably looks back on that as an unfortunate choice of words on his part.
Yeah.
She looks back on it as something that, some people might have said it was an unfortunate choice of words on her part, but not as far as she's concerned. She feels that that's an important statement, and we agree.
Yeah.
You know,
I definitely agree. I think that we have this whole world where boys aren't supposed to cry, and back to My Little Pony, like, you're not supposed to be into this and you're not supposed to do this. And she's like, no, crying is great regardless. It lets out what you're feeling and you can be stronger. And I, as a big crier, support that 100%. Okay, let's talk about the Secret Six, because this is the greatest concept ever. It's so malicious, and they didn't trust each other, and I am a heartless person who was... I would have been like, okay, so we're going to have this Secret Six, and I'm going to go behind everyone's back and screw them over, which was a fear, a legitimate fear, because people like me exist. But did you know anything?
Nothing. I was totally in the dark, had no clue what was going on. It's just... I was on the wrong side of the fence.
Well, because Lily gives that whole speech, I think, at the voting, and she was not. I'm sorry, that was not a belief. Like, no, we would never do something like that. I am such a good person.
Well, I think that what the Secret Six, this is to me one of the most interesting things that happened in the whole run of the show, was that it started out as an intergroup girl connection alliance. That's the word I'm looking for. And that was what it was initially. And then they brought in Ben and Jonathan for strategic reasons,
right?
But what interested me about it was not so much the strategy itself, because in theory it's a good idea. There's also ways in which it could come back to bite them.
Right.
Which I'm not going to comment on, but if you study the strategy of that idea as they talk about it, you realize why they're doing what they're doing, but you also, it doesn't take much to extrapolate how it could go wrong.
Right.
And I think that the strategy is less interesting than that alliance, that initial alliance in the first place, being intergroup and being all women.
Yeah.
That, to me, is something that I want to investigate a little further, because I mean, nothing like that has ever happened before on our show, certainly.
Oh.
And, I mean, maybe it's happened on other shows, but that...
I think it's happened on Big Brother in the past.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm not a big... believe it or not, reality show TV watcher, but
me neither.
But
I read forums.
Well, you're doing much better. But I just found that intriguing.
Yeah,
I really did.
It definitely is, and it's so. I was like, wow, this is so clever and fun, but like it could easily bite them in the ass, and I would be the person to do that first and foremost, because I don't trust people.
Well, it's just not. I mean, it's a well thought out strategy, but it's not infallible.
Yeah.
And that's there's the one danger there. Whether it happens that way or not, I'm not saying.
I think there's more than one danger.
Well, you can look in like the previous seasons where Midas Touch, if one team keeps losing, you're going to eventually have to vote people from said alliance just by looking at previous seasons. It's a numbers game by then.
Yeah. And I think I feel like it might become clear to the rest of the people at some point. That is another...
You're never going to get anything out of us, is she?
I'm just kind of my goofy smile is all.
Oh, man. I can't wait to get to predictions. I have such a good prediction.
Okay.
All right. But I think that I think this alliance is great. I think Secret Six is a very clever name. Clever might not be the word I'm looking for.
Well, I mean, it's an appropriate name for a nerd show, because it sounds like,
Sounds like the Legion of Doom.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I was like...
Meanwhile, in the Legion of Doom, the Secret Six plot against the rest of nerds in Nerdvana.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was thinking about it, though, and I was like, what if they have to have a meeting? They can't be like, hey, Secret Six, we're meeting.
Yeah, no, that's true. They can't.
I was like, someone's going to notice that this... Anyway, we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so I want to take a moment to thank our fans for listening. Now is the appropriate time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, streaming, downloading, everything. We appreciate it. Because of you, I am lucky enough to sit with amazing people on my panel. I'm geeking out on the inside and the outside. I can't even keep it anymore because of you. And we ask you guys to do very simple things for us. Go onto iTunes, subscribe. That'd be nice. Rate and review us if you like us. 5 stars. If you don't, 4 stars. Leave a comment. Let us know what we're doing well, what we're doing better, who you think should be eliminated. And I will remember next week to check if there are reviews. And then we will read them on the air. I'll remember next week. I was just so excited about this week. Okay, let's talk about the nerd off. Yeah. So, Thomas and I talked about this a little bit before. I am riddles. Riddles, I don't get them. I never get them. I would have failed miserably at this.
They're tough.
Yeah. You were saying that it's you either get it or you don't.
It's like, it's subconscious how you do riddles in my mind. It's either your brain does all the work without you actually thinking about it. Your brain makes the connection, how I do it.
Yeah. And
basically, your brain, the brain does all the work and I just say what it says.
That's great. And we were talking about the stars one. That was the first one. And Pom Pom Kitty was back. Which was
what was
nice.
it, the wood nymph, right?
Yeah. Pom Pom Kitty was the wood nymph.
Yeah. And
we always try to get Pom Pom Kitty back.
Good.
We find any excuse to get Pom Pom Kitty back.
And no one will fault you for that. We all agree that is genius.
Was that her first talking on the show?
Well, no. I mean, she'd done little things, but mainly it was the first real dialogue.
Yeah. And she, so Stars was the first one, and I remember when you gave the answer, and then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I would have never in a million years gotten it.
No.
Are you good at riddles?
No, I mean, the thing is, I was able at the time to look at the riddles as we were reading them, and think on one part of my brain was just frying, because I knew that I would never be able to get any of these.
No, riddles are impossible.
They are hard.
If they were nerd riddles, I probably would have had a better chance.
Right.
Like what
Well,
Caitlin was studying for.
But the truth is, you didn't know whether they were going to be nerd riddles, nerd-related riddles, or just regular riddles.
Colby and myself were studying, general riddles that you can find on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, Caitlin was doing nerd riddles. Basically, we were each doing what the other person would have been better at.
That's interesting.
That's smart. And she was working really hard to work on the nerd riddles, and then was like, wait a second.
Well, that was the funny thing, is she thought that it was going to be that,
Yeah.
so she was studying completely the wrong thing.
And then she succeeded, which makes me so sad.
Yeah, so far, Colby's 0 for 2 on coaching. He's a teacher in your life. I'm sorry, Colby, you're awesome, but I failed you.
Well, no one ever said Colby's good at teaching or helping other people study.
Well, he's a history teacher, so
that's his job.
That's what he does for a living. But
Whatever.
but what we do is not what he does.
Right.
And actually, I learned something from Colby when he was. It was when he was coaching Jacob. He was saying, find the subjects, learn 3 things about them, and move on. I mean, that's a way of thinking that would never have occurred to me.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it didn't help in that case. But
I don't think knowing 3 things about riddles would...
maybe not.
No, but I mean, it does make sense that's a really great advice. I think that I could see parts of my life where that would be beneficial.
For something like Jeopardy, which is he's a Jeopardy champion, so it makes sense that would be the way that you do that for that. But
I'm gonna start studying and go on Jeopardy next.
Yeah,
that's never gonna happen. Okay, I'd like to talk about the Minotaur.
Yes, everybody wants to talk about the Minotaur. I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to have to get that guy back.
Yeah, who was that guy and where can we find him?
Well, I don't have his information. I had never met him before. I mean, we're there doing all of this stuff, and I didn't know. I feel terrible. I wish I could give out his information so people.
Heather found his information.
Yeah, I'll bet she did. He's on there, but he was a magnificent piece of
Minotaur.
Minotaur.
Are you saying Minotaur?
Well, that's what they've taken to calling him.
Yeah.
But
yes, he was.
Of course, what everyone is talking about on the internet are the nipples.
Yep.
And in fact, it is now being referred to as Nipplegate.
Really?
Yes. The fact that they're pointing directly due south is everybody just goes, why and how? And how can I get a piece of that?
Yeah.
It's remarkable.
It was a very interesting. I remember seeing it. I was like, oh, I like this. And then
the funny thing was,
yeah.
do you remember this? He was the last one, and we were losing the light. And our show is not equipped to shoot outside. So if we lose the light, we lose the light. And there's nothing we can do about it. We don't have that. So we're getting down to it. And, you know, it had taken a long time to get everything up to that point. And the sun is going down and this guy comes out. We did it. And we thought, what is going to happen? Because I don't know if this is even usable material. And it was the one that settled everything. So how are we going to survive if we don't have this?
Well, he wasn't the one that ended everything. It was the goblin.
Oh, that was the goblin. That's right. That's right.
Okay,
you're right.
I was like,
you're right.
wait,
It was the goblin.
it
was the goblin.
Okay,
but it was down to the wire, and we thought it's such a magnificent.
His
Minotaur.
brain was on the nipples.
Be ashamed. Be ashamed. You know, the terrible thing is, I didn't notice the nipples at the time.
I didn't either. They had to mention it to me.
But I know.
Who said during the thing, calm down, ladies?
Oh, no. Ben mentioned the nipples.
Somebody says during the thing, and you laughed, which was so great.
Well, he was, even without the nipples, there was a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Stone-faced guy, though.
Yeah.
Huh?
The Minotaur, he was stone-faced the entire
Yes,
time.
he
No
never
emotion.
smiled. He never cracked a smile. Nothing. He was there to do his job. He did his job and went home.
Wow.
He and his nipples.
He is welcome here on the after show.
Well,
every
we'll
week.
see if we can hook you up with him.
Please. Speaking of, there was a great discussion about the relationship status of everyone on this.
Yeah.
And I think Colby says it best. The Kinsey scale is alive and well in this house. With the women, we have a great fluid spectrum of women.
Yes.
Which is great.
Fluid's a good word.
Yeah.
This was not something that we were aware of at the time, and it certainly took all of us by surprise when that conversation started.
Yeah.
Because we're watching on Video Village, right? And suddenly Heather comes out with this,
80-20.
80-20 thing, and then...
I have some of the numbers.
Well, because Amanda was 60-40.
Amanda, yeah.
I thought she was 70-30.
Oh, she's 70-30, right.
70-30.
Heather's 80-20. Let's see what else I got. Nope, I think those are the only ones I took notes on.
No, and then
also.
Rochelle was 60-30.
Yeah, 60-40.
60-40.
Get your numbers right.
I'm glad. I'm bad at math, but I'm glad to see you were paying attention.
Yes.
Particularly.
Yeah, let's talk about this. Girlfriendforthomas.com is a site. It is up and running. I went and checked it out. Well, I think I'm looking at my friends to see who I got for you.
Literally, this was all the girls' idea. I had nothing to do with this, but I think it's hilarious. I just roll with it, but I love the commentaries y'all wrote on. It was like one of the most heartfelt things that they've done.
Yeah.
Just even if you don't care, it's a funny website to look at, but you guys got to read the commentary that every cast member wrote about me. It just made my day.
It is really something. I mean, we're laughing at it because it is funny, and they make a point of talking about it in the episode that Thomas needs a girlfriend, and they want to do something to help, and that was why they bought the domain. ThomasNeedsAGirlfriend.com. You can go to it.
I'm a shy person.
Yeah. He's a very shy person, but they did that not in any way disrespectfully or to be mean to him. They did it because they adore him.
Yeah.
And
I have fangirls.
That's amazing.
So what's the response been?
Yeah.
They haven't told me anything. It's Heather hasn't shown me anything. She's doing all the preliminary stuff, she said, and she told me Xander sent in a application because they have a picture of me kissing Xander at the premiere party that everyone was doing because it was funny.
Yeah.
My little brother sent in an application for some reason, and she said for some reason a lot of 14-year-olds are sending in applications like, I don't want to go to jail. Come on, Heather.
How old are you?
I'm 22 now.
22.
21 during the filming process.
22 now. Okay. I'm thinking through my head of people I know.
Oh, God, that's just wonderful.
And I've gotten a few guys messaging me also.
Yeah. Well, I mean, It's a very fluid house.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you take,
We'll figure out your percentages later. So, well, I mean, the 14-year-olds, we just wait till they're 18. Ladies, 4 years. Come back. We'll
talk then.
Yeah. They're welcome in 4 years. What? That's so amazing. And they're so sweet and everybody loves you. Can we pull up the website? Is that something we could do? Girlfriendforthomas.com. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So we're getting that pulled up. That's an interesting sound.
Feedback?
Yeah.
Oh, it's me?
No, that's nobody. I don't
No?
know what that is. Deal with that, JT. Meanwhile, I want to talk about the Nerd Off a little bit more. It felt like, and maybe it's just the way we see it, it felt to me like you went in defeated already.
I felt it was definitely my Achilles heel. I've always had trouble with riddles, and I felt like I was so nervous about this because I'm pretty sure I would do great in the last Nerd Off that we saw. If there was anything trivia related, or basically, I have my hand in a lot of cookie jars in the nerd fandom.
Yeah.
And riddles isn't really, it's nerdy, but it's not, it's intellectual nerdy. While I'm more nerdy. Is that get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And do you think that's why Caitlin had kind of the upper hand because she is more academic-y, nerdy?
She is one of the fastest thinkers on the show, I would think. She's up there with if not the most intelligent, up there with being the most intelligent on the show.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
But it does come from a very different place.
Right.
Her sense of nerdiness. I mean, it's obvious in some ways. She works for NASA,
Yeah.
and, you know, but I mean, she's also got these other things going on. She's got a lot of, and she does think very fast.
Thank you.
There
Thank
we
you.
go.
There we go.
It was me. I apologize.
See,
These things
I
look
just
like bees, so that's the buzz.
Yes.
It's the buzz coming out.
I apologize.
it's all right. I assumed it was me. I assumed I'd done something wrong.
I assumed it was them in the booth because that's what I always assume. So Caitlin has I think one of the greatest lines this episode we see during the cosplaying. She goes, "You can't build robots in that flowery dress." I know. I build them. That was the greatest
Very
thing.
smug, but that's what makes her awesome.
Yeah, that made me love her.
She's one in a million.
No,
That's
yeah, I'm very fond of her as well.
Yeah.
And I think that she, as a person, she has a very interesting arc.
That's interesting. Okay, before we move into predictions, I want to ask a few more questions.
Okay.
So Bobby wants to at the end, let Thomas live.
Mm-hmm.
Has that happened before?
That has never happened before.
Yeah.
It didn't really help, did it?
No.
But no, that was... this goes back to what I was talking to you about before. I just want to tell a quick story if we've got a second.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, when we were casting the show and we got down to the final, 13 or whatever it was, 15, and we brought people out for the final meeting with all of the casting director and the executives and so on. And Thomas was there, of course. So Thomas comes into the room, and he's Thomas, He's a brony, he's an Eagle Scout, he's a lovely person, he's all of these things, and we're all sitting there just going like this because we like him so much. And after he leaves the room, someone, and I will not mention either name or gender, but someone high up says, "He is perfect, but he may be too nice for our show." And our show is not legendary for being mean to people, but I said gender. She said...
Cat's out of the bag.
Well, unfortunately, there's quite a number to be picked from. But
I don't even remember half the people on that.
She said, "I'm just afraid somebody's going to be mean to him, and I would not be able to stand it." And we all sort of felt that way. But then we were looking at people in general that, we had a pretty fair idea we're going to be on the show. And we just thought, I don't think that's going to be an issue. And it turns out not only to have not been an issue, but actually the opposite.
Yeah. That's so...
It caused a moment, actually, though, of going, maybe you're right. Nah, let's go with them.
Yeah, the show is so nice.
So then we get to the end where Thomas leaves, and where our tradition is to do some horrible thing to people as they're leaving for no reason at all.
Yep.
But Thomas was one where actually we were talking about what to do with him, and we couldn't come up with anything. So we said it's better to just let him live.
And
we
then,
like him.
And then you kill him.
Well, we don't kill him.
A random stampede of giant horse people just happens to walk by.
Well, yeah.
Was that
with the King of the Nerds logo as its cutie marker, which is a nice touch. I like that.
Well, we like to further the brand.
Yeah, of course.
With the large Future Curtis brand going on.
Right. Yes, with Naked Curtis.
Future Curtis.
Yeah, Future Curtis. Right.
Who was the voice of our My Little Pony that killed him?
There wasn't a voice.
No, it just happened.
There was a sound. It made a. Like,
it was just a.
And a giggle. There wasn't a giggle.
Oh, there might have been. There might have been a giggle.
There was a giggle.
There might have been a giggle, but I don't.
It must have been very silent.
Yeah, I don't remember. There might have been.
I was so hoping because that would have been so amazing.
If it was anyone who was probably female, it was probably Pom Pom Kitty. That's where my money's at.
Could be.
I was just really hoping that Tara Strong did, because that would have been.
Oh well,
amazing.
that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But
not only does she, is she there, and then
she
loves you, and then she kills you. That would have been so great.
That would have been funny.
Yeah, like
it would have been funny if we.
By what you love most.
But we were not thinking that far ahead. We would, otherwise we would have asked. But
No.
And she was wonderful, by the way, talking about Tara Strong and Yaya especially. Boy, did they ever. They did a lot of tweeting. Yaya actually did live tweeting for the West Coast broadcast. I mean, Yaya, just one thing about her is she's been on every season.
Right.
And we think of her as sort of a patron saint. We love her. She's so important in that world, in the cosplay world.
Yeah.
Important to a lot of people, and she's so nice to us, and we love her. And that's why we keep asking her back.
I'm sure Lily
and
felt
Tara,
the same way.
Oh God, she was just wonderful. So
yeah, and then we also
and Billy Boyd.
I was gonna say we also had Billy Boyd. I think.
By the way,
great comment. Like he shouldn't be judging this. He's like,
sci-fi's know nothing. Comics know nothing about sci-fi.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of our better quotes.
You silly hobbits.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was so good. How often do you do your lovely voices?
I don't really have that many, but on request. When people asking, it's literally I was just with a bunch of my friends, just hanging out. I think it was during actually the first Hobbit movie that came out. We went to dinner and show as friends, and basically, I just did it randomly. It was like everyone's just like turned their head to me like, what?
Well, it just doesn't seem like something that would come out of you.
Yeah, that's true. It's amazing.
Yeah, do you want me to say anything real quick? Promotion for BuzzFeed? Give me something to say in the voice.
What's our slogan? Buzz you later.
Buzz you later, precious.
That's awesome.
I could listen to them all day.
Yeah, seriously, that is amazing. Okay, I wanna get into predictions. I have some.
This is my favorite part.
And now,
because of the blinky lights.
your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
It's like the amazing Criswell is in the room.
All right, so in the promo, it says big drama in Nerdvana. Okay, so that was it. That was basically it. From the images, you can't pick up anything that's happening. So here are my predictions.
Okay.
I think the Secret Six is going to be discovered. I think they are going to be discovered, and Todd is going to not handle it well.
Who is not?
Todd.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Okay.
I think Caitlin is going to learn to be nicer. To answer me, I think.
I wasn't there. I don't know what's going on.
I know. I think. Let's see what I think. I think there's going to be a hookup in the house.
A hookup?
Hookups in the house, big drama.
I don't know what she's talking about.
I'm cool in the rap video.
I think Ori is going to start getting frustrated with the fact that everyone else is frustrated with him. Your mms are killing me. They're killing me.
I don't know what else I can say, really. I mean, it's I think your predictions. You know what we have to do?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember what your predictions were last week.
I don't either.
Okay. What we have to do is keep that in mind.
Okay.
You know, so that when we come back next week, then you can mention what your predictions had been from the week before, and we'll see if any of them have come true.
They won't.
And
I'm terrible at this game.
And then, so that way, we'll,
Okay.
you know, we'll be able to actually
Discuss.
You know, it's good to keep track of these.
Okay.
things.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Yes.
All right.
I will also find out who commented and give a shout out to the people who commented on iTunes. Okay. And my last prediction, someone's going to throw something, like violently. Okay. Nothing.
I know there's that promo thing where everyone flips the table.
Yeah, I don't think that's what she means, though.
No. I mean, like.
I mean, that's in the promo.
Yeah.
In my mind, the Secret Six is discovered because it's going to be really hard to pretend that that's not a thing, especially with Lily being like, we would never do something like that. We are so nice.
She wouldn't last very long on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no. Oh, that was a question I had for you. You said it felt like Game of Thrones in there. Why? What about it felt like Game of Thrones?
I had like a vibe, like, it wasn't really, basically my vibe was, you know, things were happening behind the scenes, but I wasn't sure on it. Because I just felt like people kept walking off and partners, so I just kind of put two and two together, and not much I can do in the end, though.
So then I stand by my Secret Six being discovered.
Okay.
Especially if that kept happening. And then Todd is going to get angry and throw something. Something. I don't know what.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Won't we?
Yes.
Tune in, folks.
Yeah. Before,
I will.
Before we go, Thomas, thank you so much for joining us. This has been an absolute pleasure.
I'm local. I'll come back if you want me.
That's
Awesome.
right. And also, his...
Yes. Tell us where people can find you online.
Oh, yeah. My Twitter, which I had to make for the show because I never did Twitter before, is at @Vollum. TVOLLUM. Vollum sounds like Gollum.
Awesome. And of course, girlfriendforthomas.com.
Yes.
Excellent. Curtis, where can people find you?
People can find me at Curtis's Booger.
What a shocker.
Yeah, I know.
Awesome. And of course,
I'm
you
nothing if not obvious.
if you want to find me, you can find me at Yael.tv. That's YAEL.tv. Also on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Google+, at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. Make sure you tune in to King of the Nerds Fridays, TBS, very funny, 9 p.m. I got it all.
You did. Even the very funny part.
Yeah. And we will see you next Monday at 4. Bye.
Bye.
Eyes, precious.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.